Good morning, everyone. How are you? Hope you're well.
Good
Saturday
morning.
morning already. So we're back again, and it's the Saturday show. And the topic today that I'm going to be discussing with Susan. Susan, good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. I'm really good. Jimmy, how are you today?
Yeah, looking forward to the show. Good topic. I'm really well, thank you.
Good, perfect. I'm glad to hear it. So this morning's topic is selling off market. Can you still get the best price and the best buyers? So that's a really big question that everyone's asking at the moment, especially very topical with what's on the news just now. So if 2022 is anything to go by, 2023 could be the year that selling homes off market hits the mainstream. About 10% of properties at the moment in sales in the UK in 2022 have been sold off market. I was quite surprised by that. That's more than ever before, and for a number of reasons, and we'll talk about those throughout this show. Off-market sales began to increase because of the shortage of property, which we all know has been an issue. If you're a potential buyer, you'll have faced that. So the shortage of properties for sale over the last year has been a real stretch for some people. Estate agents have had to get more creative by putting chains together from top to bottom, really, and we've experienced that quite often. Finding homes that weren't on the market for ever-growing lists of increasingly desperate buyers has been a big challenge for all of us, actually. More recently, the ill-fated mini budget, again, everyone's experienced that, not so great, and the mixed messages around the property market have led some sellers to test the waters first with an off-market launch. But if you don't tell every buyer that your home is for sale, you're at risk of selling for less or not at all, actually. A lot depends on the type of property you own, of course, where that's located and what it looks like. So with that in mind, our show this week is really about including all you need to know about selling your home off market and whether it's the right move for you to be making just now. So interesting topic, guys, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
when I go on valuations, I quite regularly get my friend says they've got a friend that's interested, or the neighbour across the road told me if they've got somebody that's interested, or my neighbour's brother's sister's interested, or something like that. So it's a common theme, especially this year, back at the beginning of this year and last year, when a lot of people were looking to move and they knew properties were selling quickly. A lot of people tried to get in there before they went on the market.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be discussing whether that's the right or wrong thing to do for people throughout the show, I'm sure.
It's a really good point you make, Jimmy, actually. And isn't it surprising how many best friends are experts in the property market all of a sudden?
Yeah.
We certainly hear that quite often, don't we? So, Jimmy, why do people sell their homes off market? Why would somebody want to do that?
Market selling was exclusively for homes at the very top of the market, or public figures, celebrities who wanted to be discreet and not let people know what they were selling or where they lived or how much they were selling for.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other reasons why people make their moves available off market. A few of those would be a preference for neighbours, colleagues, business associates, not to know their personal reasons or why they're moving, or how much the home's worth. Uncertainty over the exact value of a home and trying to test the price to gauge the response without leaving a digital trail. We do have some solicitors that have high profile clients that put clauses in offers that the sale price is not revealed. So we do have that now and again.
Yeah.
And owning a home that might be unique design or a certain location, or in an unusual neighborhood. They're sort of the top reasons why people wouldn't sell off market. They're all valid reasons, but they only really apply to the minority of homes. When most people... Sorry, carry on.
No, I would agree with that. And what we tend to see, and what we hear as well, is that we all take pride in our homes, don't we? We all love our homes and we think it's the best thing since sliced bread, so to use the saying. But we all have that inherent belief as well that our home will really sell itself and there's nothing really we need to do. And so who wouldn't want to have it? There's a bit of that as well, isn't it, with this type of person who wants to do that, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. It's when we take a call from a buyer and their house is not on the market, they always sell. Everything they always say is, but it will sell really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, because they believe their home's amazing, but they're never going to tell us that, oh, it's going to take 6 months to sell. It's
Mm-hmm.
falling down or whatever it may be. But it is everybody's going to take pride in what their home and where they live in. Everybody works majority of their life to get their home, so
Mm-hmm.
they have the right to feel like that as well.
Yeah, they do, and I think you're right.
Sorry.
So on you go, Susan.
I'm actually seeing it firsthand too, that people don't want their neighbours to know that they're selling their property. We had that instance this week where obviously we taken a call in the office and Jimmy was then asked if he was going out not to park near the house, didn't want the neighbours to know. It's a personal thing to them, so that people do try to be a little more discreet these days. They don't want their neighbours, they don't want their friends knowing that they're moving for whatever reasons, but it's up to them. But we are seeing a lot more of it.
It's a really good point, actually. We are seeing more and more frequently that that's happening. The first question that some people will ask, is your vehicle branded? Because if it is, can you park somewhere else? I don't want you to come up into the street because all the neighbours will talk about it. So there is a kind of hesitancy there as well, especially if someone's really taken the first step, isn't it? And they're not really sure if it's really what they want to do, and they're maybe just getting answers to some of their questions at the moment, and they've just started that property journey, isn't it? And so they want to be able to make all those choices and decisions without the pressure point of feeling like they're the talk of the seaweed.
I think it's making that decision as well for some people, that they're testing the water. So it's quite hard. They want to sell it, they want to move on, but like you said, it's their house. They've got a lot of memories in there in the house, and it's just actually taking these steps. So sometimes it's like we'll dip a little bit and we'll see where it leads us. So discretion for a lot of them, I do see that coming through quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree with that. And when most people decide to move, they usually want to get an offer and get going as soon as possible. Actually, once that decision's made, it's like, right, let's get moving. It's full steam ahead. And we often have that, Jimmy, don't we? I mean, you in particular, you've obviously been doing this much longer than I have, but certainly what I see from yourself is the clients that you have spoken with who perhaps haven't yet made the decision to sell. You could have been having discussions with them for 18 months, and then suddenly, as Jim would always say, people sell for a reason. There's always something factoring in their lives that makes them move. And you'll have someone that you've maybe spoke to, as I say, for about 18 months. And then suddenly they'll call you and say, right, Jimmy, I'm good to go and I want it on the market by the end of the week. And we're like, right, okay. And then you have to start pulling out all those stops to make that happen, don't you?
Yeah. And they might have just seen something that they really like, or new job, or family reasons. So there's many different factors that come into it. You just got to try and accommodate them as best as they can, but you don't want to be leaving no stone unturned. You want to be making sure that you're marketing it to the widest possible audience and putting together the right plan that's going to get them the best price.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it. And if your house is kind of in a prime location in Fife as well, you're likely to get the best result by making sure that everybody gets to see the house and everyone knows about it. I think that's a big factor as well, isn't it? So moving on from that, will you get the highest price by selling your home off market, Susan? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, a few things. When you're selling your price, it influences the entire move, basically. So it's basically from your budget for your next home to how much you can spend on like upgrades and furniture and so on. Because when you do move, you might want to change the look of your new property. So the best way to get the highest price is to reach as many buyers as possible. So it's getting it out there. But these homes where there's a different approach that you can pay off, because basically you're wanting houses that sell a lot better are ones that are exclusive. And some buyers will pay what you want without negotiating to avoid the scrum off the open market scenes. You can use the fear of missing out as well on a one-time opportunity. So if it's something that's really good there and you miss out, so it bolsters your selling price and it can create some kind of urgency, basically. Even a small selection of hand-picked buyers can result in stiff competition and multiple offers for exceptional properties.
I would agree with that. And we do see that. We do see that, don't we? And we've had that just recently. I mean, Jimmy, you had that one on Victoria Road, which was an absolutely stunning property, high end, big house, rarely come to market. And, you know, you did your pre-portal and your social media and boom, off it went. So, you know, people will get it by selling it off market, but actually will they have reached that audience, I guess, is one of the questions that we can cover later on. But it absolutely is about that high end property and getting that visibility as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
there was a lot of interest in that property, so I can see that us obviously doing our pre-portals, getting it out there first, they need to be quick, but a good audience, isn't it, for people to see what we've got up and coming?
Definitely.
I mean, I've seen over the last 12 months, I've seen both sides of the coin with selling off market or people having offers before it goes on the market, but then deciding to go on the market. Had a client that was looking for a property in Kanaka, only wanted that village, only wanted it in a certain location. For those who know Kanaka will know exactly where that is without giving too much away. But he was willing to pay more than 100,000 over the home report to get that property, so they didn't put it on the market. We also had a client that was selling a property in Ely last year. We're about to put it on the market. His solicitor calls him up and says he's got a private buyer willing to pay the home report value. He asked me whether that was the right decision to do or not. I said, well, the only way you'll know the real true value of your home is if you put it on the market. Follow our plan that we've put together. The plan is put together, so we build competition. We line buyers up one after the other. We try and get them to fight over the property. Probably not what everybody wants to hear, but that's the facts. And then it's all for 100,000 over on the market. So we got 100,000 more by putting it on the market.
Yeah. And we've got many examples where that's happened, haven't we, Jimmy? And actually, you had a lady recently who got herself in a bit of a pickle, actually, to be quite frank. So was buying a new build property. It was built, had accepted an offer off market. 2 weeks before she was due to exchange, her buyer pulled out, didn't they? And she literally phoned you in a panic and said, Jimmy, what do? I need to get a buyer ASAP or I'm going to lose my dream home. So how did you deal with that, Jimmy? What solution did you come up with for her?
Well, ultimately, we had to firstly scram through our database to see how many people we got looking for that type of build in that location. It was a detached bungalow, so in Cooper, so it is very, very popular. Next thing we did is the pre-portal launch with a sponsored campaign targeting specific audience to make sure we're covering all bases. And from that, we did get someone through our database and through the pre-portal launch that was willing to purchase a property. And I believe they paid 25% over home report. No, 15% over home report to secure the property. So that was that instance. Not saying it's going to always be that successful, but it's when you speak. If you go into the market, you got to speak to your agent, because what's going to get you the best price is the process. The process of what I'm talking about there is the strategy, the touch points with buyers, and trying to get people, as I said before, lined up to get you the best price. Some people I've been to, I've left, they've seen the car, they've driven away, and they have got off market offers. And if I think it is a good price, I will tell you it's a good price. But if I don't think it is, then I would also tell you. But although I told them that was a good price on that instance, I did also say, look, I think that's a great offer. It'll be your decision, but ultimately, you'll never truly know how much it's worth until you put it on the market.
Yeah, it's not just about the value either, though, is it, Jimmy? I mean, yes, people do off-market deals, and we've come across that frequently ourselves. And we have been in a very unusual market over the last 2 years, post lockdown, etc. But of course, it's impossible to know, if you're doing an off-market deal as well, whether another buyer would have come along, in a week or in a month, and would they maybe have paid more? You're never going to. That's the big unknown, isn't it? I guess that's the risk that many people take. But that's the same for everyone selling a home, isn't it? I mean, even if what's important is that your agent gets you a price that stacks up. against other local sales. And I think that's where it's really important to drive it. But from a buyer who can proceed to your time frame is also a bigger thing, isn't it? Because that's what went wrong in that situation with that particular lady. That buyer suddenly then had a problem. Their circumstances changed and they couldn't proceed in the timeline that was needed. And so again, that's a very stressful situation if you're trying to manage all of that yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And then the instance that I was talking about just there about, I told them that it's a good offer and they probably should accept it. They did accept the offer, but then it was the same situation. It fell through and they had to come back to me. We had to put it on the market because it wasn't quite so truthful about their position on the market. They had a house to sell and it wasn't selling. They never told them that. So it's tricky. So as much as you can, you've got to be doing your due diligence as much as you can.
As well. Sorry, it's difficult if it's a chain as well, isn't it? So you're obviously dependent on their house selling and then someone buying their house. It's really difficult because we're seeing it more and more. But it's not it's not always a cash buyer. Mm-hmm. So if a chain does fall through, then that person can't buy our property. And so so having a database with backups is actually really good to put it back out there.
And as Jimmy said as well about the due diligence part, that's a lot of what your agent will do as well, because, and we've even had that even in our due diligence, Jimmy, that where people have said they say they're cash buyers, but something can happen in their journey before completion, and then suddenly they think, hang on a minute, maybe we won't buy down that route, maybe we'll buy with another source of funds rather than using our cash, because conveyancing can take 3 or 4 months. Something's maybe changed in that 3 or 4 months, and suddenly actually being a cash buyer doesn't work for them. But that can hinder the purchase and sale. So there is elements of that. So, Jimmy, how can you choose the right agent to sell your home off market?
Call me.
That was a quick answer.
That's it. No, I would say for an estate agent to sell your home off market, they need to be able to access a pool of ready and willing buyers. So I'll be asking if you have a certain type of property, how many people they got registered, budgets, etc. Otherwise, given your home will be invisible to the public, you're unlikely to have any interest at all. So using a few steps, most suitable agents basically can follow these steps and hopefully get you a deal. What I would do is check local signs and online listings to see who sells similar homes to yours, and are they likely to have suitable buyers. Next one I would think would be to contact each agent on your shortlist to see if they're willing to list your home off market. Not all are basically willing to do that because they don't get the exposure, they don't get the board, etc. Another one would be ask them whether they've done it before. How many homes have they sold off market? And probably the last one would be invite your chosen agent to come into your home, get their thoughts on a price, strategy, the buyers they've got registered, and how they can generate inquiries without doing the portal. So basically, without doing what everybody does, is click a button and put it on Rightmove, Zoopla. What other strategies have they got to get you a buyer? And that's the key. And this strategy that we're talking about here off market, that's very common in the Australian and the American market to sell like this, and they do discreet open houses and call in buyers, etc. They have registered, and try and do deals that way.
Yeah, and that's really important actually. And we do have that, don't we, on many occasions. And we have got people that are sitting, buyers waiting. I think the point you make as well about a potential seller, if they're looking to do an off-market deal, if they are checking out local sold signs and local portals to see what's selling in the area, the chances are, and certainly for us, we experienced that, because we sold a property in that street, there wasn't just the potential is that there wasn't just one person interested in that property in that street, and the good chance is that we have got maybe 3 or 4 people that missed out. And as you said earlier, Jimmy, who very specifically they want that street, they want that location. There's reasons for it. It could be because their parents live there. It could be it's in the school catchment area that their kids are going to go to. It could be because it's nearer their job. It could be because their whole family lives in that location and they don't want to live anywhere else. There's always reasons why people would want that particular location, isn't there? Sorry, guys, I'm just going to stop you with saying I've got a bit sidetracked there. My dog's just come in from his morning walk and he's running riot trying to get some attention. Excuse me, wee second. I'll let you guys chat.
Yeah.
Susan, just what I was going to say there is that we have people on our database. I know we've got someone that's looking in the leaving area. They only want a certain street, and she's not willing to put her house on the market until a property on that certain street comes on the market. Quite strange and leaving a lot to chance. But if that suits her circumstances, that's what we just got to do and work with, really. But people need to bear in mind. People need to bear in mind that one or more agents you speak to will feel that selling your home off market is not the best move for you. And they may have a point. It isn't right for everybody. So be open to comments and advice before making your final decision before selling off market. And I think that's what I've been saying to people. I've been re-emphasizing on this is we can sell it off market if you want to, but in my opinion, the only way you'll know you get the best price is if you do put it on the open market. But the strategy is not for everybody, and we'll be willing to work with whatever the client requests because we're working for them at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there's multiple reasons for that people choose to, as we've said. But I think when you look at the way things are at the moment, we're certainly seeing more property coming to market, but the buyer demand is still there because whilst there's more property coming to market, it's maybe not the kind of property that you're looking for. So it goes back to what we said earlier. It's about very much us understanding your specifics from a buying and a selling point of view, isn't it? I mean, as of this morning with Zoopla, there's 974 properties in Fife up for sale. So, we're very close to that 1,000 properties mark, where we were kind of really around about the 450, 500 6 months ago on a weekly basis, Jimmy, weren't we? So there's definitely more choice there. But actually, with more choice becomes more buyers as well, because those people that are selling are also potentially buyers. So, the market is still there and it's buoyant and they're looking for something. So it definitely is about getting an agent or an understanding of really what it is you're looking for. And is the market open to that, i.e. for you selling, but also is there something in the market, the reason for your sale and what you're looking to buy, are they out there? And, the agent will have an inside track really in understanding what is available. Because how many times, Jimmy, do we know that a property's come to market before it even happens?
Yeah. Now and again, it's, I suppose that comes down to your knowledge and whether you've been able to do it for before and how much you're researching, how much your agent's researching the local market. I would say I would put my neck on the line and say I'm pretty switched on. I'm looking every hour, every day on what's coming on the market, prices, etc. So if clients ringing me asking for feedback on their price, or I get called up to evaluation, they're asking a price, I can list off 3 or 4 in the local area straight away, price listed for and sold, so I can make sure I'm giving them the facts at the end of the day.
The good thing with understanding the marketplace, though, even if it's not a property that we're selling, and actually we've done this, Jimmy. I've seen you do it, where actually we've got buyers who are constant, and I think that's where having a good agent who's supporting a buyer as well is good. And they're literally on to us every week saying, "Have you got anything coming on yet? My requirements. This is exactly what I want. This is the type of house I want. This is the area that I want it to be in. This is my budget. I can be a little bit flexible on some of the things. What have you got coming on?" And they literally are following us continually. I mean, at the moment, in an annual term, we've got 500,000 people coming to our website alone, never mind all of our social media channels and what we're doing there. But by doing that and having that accessibility to everything, we can tell buyers potentially what's coming to market. So having your finger on the pulse, as you say, Jimmy, and being out there and understanding what's coming to market as well. We've often called someone and says, "Look, it's not being sold by us, but actually your ideal house has just come on. Have you seen it?" And you've pointed them in the direction to another agent to secure them their home, because it's not necessarily all about getting the sales. It's about providing that flexibility to someone and providing that good service, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I had a client that's just come on the market, 39 Toll Road in Celadike. If you haven't watched it, the pre-portal launch. Watch it because it's great property.
Little plug.
They're looking for I was there and I was asking them, sign the paperwork, asked them about their next move so I can help them with their search. They told me the requirements and I said, well, I know there's this one on the market with this agent. Have you went and seen that one? She said, oh, that's the one I really want to try and get, but I need to go and try and get this sold first. I said, well, I'll go and view it anyway because I know it's been sat on the market for a little while, so I would try and force the hand and try and get an offer sale. Then I've listed about 2 or 3 other properties that are on the market, which are similar to that one in different locations. And she couldn't believe that I knew all these properties that are on the market with different agents that she'd been looking for. But that comes down to who you're instructing and how, this is going to sound strange, but how serious they are in trying to find out what's happening on the market so you can get the best advice.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You can't give good guidance and suggestions and advice to someone if you don't really know your trade, isn't it? It's like a carpenter turning up without his toolbox, isn't it? I mean, it just doesn't work. So, we talk about that quite frequently. Our knowledge is our toolkit, isn't it? Really, that's what we've got. That's what we have, and that's what we do. I mean, I certainly know when I was buying. I know I've spoken about this many times before, but when I was buying and I was going to other agents, I won't name those agents, but when I was approaching other agents about viewing properties, I didn't get fully registered. They had no idea what I was interested in regards to where I wanted to live, what type of house I wanted, what budget I had to spend, what my requirements were. You would call for a viewing and they would just book you in. And so for me, if I was the seller, I would be very uncomfortable with that because actually people are coming through your door and you don't even know if they're in a serious position to proceed. It's not just the fact of the proceeding part either, but it's also keeping your house like viewing ready is a big job as well, isn't it? And so you want to have people coming through the door that are qualified, quality potential buyers. Susan, you will have had that. I mean, in the end, you guys didn't end up buying, but when you were on that journey of looking, because I know that's something Sean does quite a lot, you do get a varying different amount of service, don't you?
Yeah, you get so many people coming in that it's probably just there's a lot that just come for a look. You really want them to be in that position to purchase it. It's a lengthy sale as well. You get your house all ready, you get your sale out the house to let agents come in, to let viewers come in. It's a long day as well because you're having to vacate your property. Immaculate for obviously the buyer as well. So yeah, it's a difficult one, that one. And you want to stay positive that these people are actually there intentionally wanting to purchase your property. I did a viewing yesterday, and the lady that I had round viewing the property as well, she's cash ready to go. And the property itself is a beautiful wee property in Crail. It was 4 Wingfield, lovely wee property. And so many positive bits of feedback comes from it. So yeah, it's the right person coming along as well. You just need to find that right person.
But just going to the registering process, it's talking about off market and registering process. I think they go hand in hand because me and Susan were negotiating on an offer this week. The solicitor gave us a lot of information about the buyer, and we had already qualified the buyer anyway to make sure they're in a position to make an offer. But they told us about a certain how much they had in cash. The mortgage was ready. The solicitor made an offer and told them that this was their best and final offer. But me and Susan discussed that's not their best and final offer because they've just told us all their details, so we know we can push this more. So we managed to do that. Managed to push the offer up, even though the solicitor is saying that's their best and final offer, and that's why selling off market and selling on the market goes hand in hand as well, because we're asking these. Well, didn't even have to ask the question on this instance. The solicitor just handed it to us on a plate. But
that's all about the skills of probing and asking the right questions, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but we managed to get our client an extra sum of money for doing that, and they're delighted, and it covers them.
If you get it right at the beginning, you need to get it right at the beginning. When you're setting them up on the system, you need to gain all the information about that person. You need to know what type of home works for them, what they're looking for, what they want to be doing in the area, for travel as well, for work. You need to get it right at the very, very beginning. And if you get it right at the start, then you can match them to the right property, and you're not having them on a wild goose chase going to this one, to that one, if it's not going to work for them. Yeah.
Absolutely. So just before we go on to the next area, just a couple of good mornings. So good morning, Erin. I hope you have a lovely day at the Christmas market. And good morning, Andrea. Thanks for joining. And just anyone else who's out there, if you're watching or you've got any questions, any comments that you'd like to make, then feel free to do so. We're happy to take them. So we're talking there, Jimmy, about the kind of the properties and how you get the best price. But you know, one of the things we've spoken about, and I was mentioning there about the Zoopla stats, and there's just short of 1,000 properties at the moment in Fife for sale. So are there enough buyers to sell your home off market? I mean, the vast majority of buyers search for a home through portals like Rightmove and Zoopla, as we speak about, and many never even contact an estate agent unless they get a property alert. The only way to reach them is to advertise your home, basically. However, there are various other sources of buyers that agents have access to, and we've kind of indicated that a little bit as well, and they don't always come through all the portals, do they? I mean, one of the aspects of that are people who lost out on a property that an agent had recently sold. We mentioned that earlier on, so we definitely have that, don't we? Where people have kind of all gone 3, 4, 5, 6 people all interested in one property and they miss out. So you know they're waiting desperately for something similar to come up. So if they're not strict on maybe location or streets, and we've got a similar thing, then it's really easy for us as agents to match that person, isn't it, that buyer, with another property that comes on with us.
Oh yeah, and Susan will know this as well. Definitely it's easy. You can cross reference and point them in the right direction, and let them know even that we've potentially got one coming on the market if it's not already on the market.
Absolutely. I think other local sellers who want to stay in their neighbourhood but haven't put their homes on the market yet as well is a big thing. So, you know, as we were talking about that earlier on in the relationship that you build, Jimmy, with clients, it could be, you know, that they suddenly find something but they're not right and gone to market yet. But if we know the buyers out there, we can potentially say to them, go straight to them, say, look, we've already got the buyer sitting, they're ready to go. It's the ideal house for them, and actually it can maybe make things move a little bit quicker as well and move faster to work for everyone, can't it?
Yeah, I've had that this week actually. I got a client that's got a property in Leven, wants a certain price for it, and I'm not sure whether he wants to do long-term rentals with it or sell it. But I told him I've got someone that's looking in the area, client of ours that's sold with us, wants to be there. Would he be interested in an off-market viewing? I really want to get this client a property as well in the Leven area. So I set up a date and time. Didn't quite work for them, but that's the sort of thing. He doesn't put it on the market. It's off market. I've got a buyer. I've told them the price he's looking for. They were happy to pay it if they work. So I set it up. It didn't quite work out, but nothing. What's the saying? Nothing gained, nothing ventured. Is that right?
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Wrong way around, but
you had the right idea though. But it's true.
I set it up. It didn't work, but they haven't lost it. The buyer's gone on a 30-minute viewing. The seller's wasted 30 minutes of the time. Didn't quite work out, but it's 30 minutes a day for a deal that might have worked out for both of them, but it didn't happen. So the next time I get something else, I can point the buyer again in the direction, or someone else looking for that type of property that I come across. I can push them straight through the door again.
Absolutely. And there's many times when that will actually work. And when we talk about that, you know, the other sources that agents have to access to buyers, you know, one of the things we've got is, as we say, previous customers whose stories we already know, and who told us about their love of a particular location, or they might need to trade up or trade down. Again, we've got good insight as to what's coming up and down, and we actually started doing the coming soons as well to kind of educate people out there who maybe are unsure as what's coming to market. But I think that's a big thing for us as well, isn't it? The fact that we know what is coming on and we can match buyers to that.
Yeah, I had last year, I think I've told this story on here before. I went out to 3 valuations in one day, and they're all looking for each other's properties, if that makes sense, or their criteria fit. So I did like a off-market 3-way viewing. This person went to this person's house, this person went to this person's house, this person went to this person's house, and they went to that house, and I was just driving around in a circle trying to get all these people to view each other's house. One ended up buying one of the other houses, but the other one didn't quite work, but still managed to get one of the deals done and make them both really happy.
And that's the thing, isn't it? We have that information, we have that understanding of what's happening in the market, where if you're trying to do an off-market deal, you don't necessarily have that, do you?
No, definitely not.
I think as well, one of the other aspects is that local business owners, landlords, and other contacts that we've built up over time as well. I mean, we've got a huge lettings part of our business, we've got hundreds of landlords, we've got an investors club. There's a lot of access to people we know who potentially are looking to buy as well, and sometimes sell. And in the market that we're in as well, we do a lot of educational shows, don't we, in regards to what's happening and the big headlines that we're all seeing on the news about the market. And quite often we'll have people say, oh, now's not the time, and we're like, well, actually now might just be the time, because we've got the perfect house. So don't be fooled by what you're seeing in the headlines. And the fact that we've got access to all of that landlord network as well, that's a big factor for us as well, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, 100%. They've landlords typically got more than one property as well. So if we can call them and find out if they're selling or holding or want to sell even a portfolio, if a landlord's wanting to buy multiple properties and save on tax, then we can make these calls. It's only a short amount of time to make the call and set up an appointment.
I know, and one of the things
sorry, Perrie.
No, on you go.
What we're seeing at the moment too is a lot of people are really, really busy. So what they are expecting from us is to go out there and search for them and come back with that information as well. There's a lot of people that I've found recently that are saying, right, this is what I'm looking for. Just come back to me when you've got something, because they've not got the time these days to do the research behind it themselves. So I'm finding that I'm doing quite a lot of matching for these kind of clients that we're bringing on.
That's a really good point you're making, actually, because it can be quite, you talked earlier, Susan, about it being time consuming doing viewings, but actually finding a house, once you've made that decision, you almost feel like it's just going to fall into your lap, but actually there's a lot of work goes into trying to find that perfect house, isn't there?
There is, definitely, yeah. Because it needs to not just match that person, it's their family too, and what their family does outside of living, like the children's sport events and things like that, and what parents do after work and things like that. So it's all their social side of things as well that they're trying to bring into their, so the house isn't just the thing, it's everything round about it too that they're trying to get together. So yeah, I'm finding I've got a lot of matching for people that are really, really busy, and they don't have the time, to do it.
Yeah, the house is the hub of the life, isn't it? And we had a prime example of that just this week, actually, where a viewing was taking place, and there was a particular requirement from the people that were viewing the house. One person fell in love with it. The needs of the other person, they were basically saying, I love it, but actually it's not my decision, it'll be their decision, because it needs to work for the family and it needs to work for that individual requirement. So there's a lot comes into play with finding that perfect home. And if you're trying to do that yourself, that can be quite stressful and time consuming, and actually no longer becomes a kind of labor of love and a joyful thing to do. It becomes actually almost like a burden, isn't it? Because as we've said many times before, you move for reasons. Circumstances are why you're moving. Something has changed, baby's coming, you're upsizing, you're downsizing because maybe you're separating and it's just no longer possible to live in the same property. You may be getting married and you need a bigger one, and all these things don't wait, they're happening every day. So it can put a lot of pressure points on people as well, can't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. And I know the next points you're going to discuss, Perrie, and it goes in hand with what you're saying there and what Susan's saying, is buyers agents tasked with finding people's dream home. And for people that won't know what buyers agents are, because it's not really a thing in the UK, is in America and Australia, they don't only pay an agent to sell the home, they'll pay a buyer's agent for people that don't have the time to go and view properties on their behalf, because they don't want to waste time viewing multiple properties. So they'll employ a buyer's agent and pay them a fee to look for properties. One's off market and on market, they have to be a certain criteria. They then have to go and view it before they'll even go and view it themselves. So it's right, people are maybe have the cash, but they don't have the time to go and view all these properties.
Exactly, and time is money as well, isn't it? And also time kills all deals. We often speak about that as well, isn't it? And for extra busy people, it's not always that easy. And you know, a finder's fee is a small thing to pay for some people. But you know, Jim talks about when he's in his investment piece, he's got like a property sourcer, hasn't he? And for him, he feels that employing a property sourcer, the time that Jim then saves from not having to do that himself, actually financially, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? So our clients are exactly the same. You know, they've all got busy lives, they've all got professional careers, they've all got families, they've all got commitments, and it just doesn't always work. And we have that even actually when we're listing properties ourselves, when we're trying to do the marketing schedule. You know, sometimes coordinating that can be a challenge because people are just busy. Full stop. So one thing about being an estate agent is
I'm finding we're doing a lot more virtual viewings as well. So doing it online, so the client can't make it, so they'll do a viewing. We'll be there and we'll actually take them round the property. So that's becoming something that I didn't think it would be. I don't think I would want to buy my house like that, but for busy people, it works well for them. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. And I think that's the key to it, though. It's all that marketing that goes behind that, Susan. So you've got the virtual viewing, you've got the pre-portal video that we do, you've then got your personal property tour. With some of our properties, you'll have a location tour, then you've got your photos, you've got your description. Actually, 90% of what you need to know about the house, you've already understood before you've got in it. So some people are happy to do that virtual piece because then that's just that tick box bit. They're going, go and open that cupboard or go and show me that bit because that's the bit I can't quite see on the other video. And then decisions are made, and we sell quite often in that manner. So again, it's just about having not only the time, but it's having the right tools to make that happen, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
One thing about being an estate agent is that people talk to us about property all of the time. I mean, it literally is 24/7 for us, and not just when we're at work. As I say, it's happening out with work. Jimmy, you and I and Susan, you'll be doing that soon as well. You know, you're constantly on your phone, you're looking at what's happening around, and we're messaging and WhatsApping and voice messaging our clients constantly. But we often hear about someone's plans to move very early on, and we lose count of the times that we've been asked to give them a call if something ever comes up, if their dream home is going to be listed. And so, you know, that's not a 9 to 5 thing. It's not a Monday to Friday thing. You know, we might hear about it when you're out and about and doing your networking on a weekend. You know, we are constantly in our communities at the weekend. So, you know, you do pick things up and you'll be chatting to someone, go, actually, I'm going to call you on Monday. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute, because, you know, we've got this and we've got that. And so you're already connecting all the time. So I think that's a big factor of what we do as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And you need to be, well, if you want to work with us or in a estate agency, you need to be prepared that you can get asked questions at any time if they see you or put you on the spot. It happens when I go and play golf with my friends. They'll see we've listed something around, or how much is that going to sell for? I was playing golf at London Links last month, and a few of the guys live there, and they're like, oh, you just put that one on, how much did that sell for? Because my one's around here, how much do you think mine's going to be worth? And I'm like, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. So yeah, you got to be prepared that you're going to get challenged on questions quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely. You do need to know your stuff. So what are the pitfalls of selling your home off market? Jimmy, what would you think on that?
Well, if you remove all the tools and channels that estate agents use to give you the widest exposure, you'll be reliant on someone from a smaller group of buyers falling in love with your home. That's not to say that they won't be worth what's considering and wanting to sell your home on the open market or pay you the best possible price. But again, it's just talking about exposure. Property portals are by far the largest source of inquiries for estate agents, with around 90% of buyers starting their search there. So
yeah, and what do we see from that though? Because that I think that's the kind of average perspective in regards to estate agency wide in Fife. But it's not necessarily what we see from ourselves, is it? Because of the fact that we do these pre-portals and the personal property tours, we get most activity on our websites and on our YouTube channels because of those items, don't we? And I think that's because those different tools are there. Okay, it's backed up by Rightmove and Zoopla, etc., and they're on there because there'll be maybe some people who've not come to us yet. But the majority of people that we speak with, we always say to them, are you following the social media and YouTube channels? Because actually that's where you're going to see it first. And in a hot market, that's what people need to do, isn't it?
Yeah, for us, I think the numbers there are just going to be for this blog is going to be sort of UK average, but for us, when we do pre-portal on social media and then sponsoring it with algorithms to hit the right market that we think the buyer will be on looking for that type of property, that's going to go out to people that are searching on their phones, or typing in that they're looking for a property, and the algorithms are going to catch them, and the pre-portal is going to come up on their phone. And then some people have clocked on that we upload the stuff to YouTube first before we can send it to our clients for approval. So they're subscribing to our YouTube channel, so they're seeing it and calling us before it goes on to Rightmove. So for us, it's definitely going to be less than 90%, but that's an average for us. But we've got tools that I don't believe any estate agent as Fife is using right now, or don't have access to it. So that number is going to be a lot less for us. But as I said, the other agents are going to be 90% of their inquiries. So if they don't have that, then they've got nothing.
Much else. Yeah, absolutely. And so what other things really should they consider?
Sorry, I misheard that. Sorry.
So when they're looking at when they're talking about going to the open market, Jimmy's saying there about 90% of buyers are searching on the portals. Where else would they be looking, or what other things could benefit you from going to market?
Websites and social media channels are handy source of local followers who either know or become buyers. Obviously, for sale signs, alert neighbours, visitors, and anyone passing by that your home's available, including those waiting for homes to come up in your location. So either for themselves or for some friends. A lot of people, it's word of mouth for a lot of people as well. If they see something, then they'll tell their friend or they'll tell their family that this came on the market. So a lot of it is word of mouth by seeing signs in gardens, windows and things like that. Yeah.
And actually, Andrea makes a really good point. So Andrea says, if you sell your house off market without an estate agent, then you don't get the expertise of the negotiating that goes on when the offer is made. That's the big differentiator, Jimmy, isn't it, in regards to negotiating? We talked about that earlier on in regards to what yourself and Susan did the other day with that particular sale, but the negotiating of it, that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on. And you talk about examples there where we've achieved 100,000 over asking price and things like that, but that happens at that negotiation. That's really the king for us, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's it's something that you can learn. You can learn, but it's picked up by qualification process, and then it's negotiation. Is a lot about listening rather than talking, letting the buyer hopefully tell you all the information that you need, so you know how much room you can push and what you need to push to try and get the seller the right price. But there's a lot of work that goes into it before that, which leads to the negotiating, and the difference between off market and on market. If it's off market, then the buyer will probably know that they're the only one competing for the property. But if you're on the market, it probably is going to be slightly easier to negotiate the price because they know they might be competing against somebody else.
Definitely. I mean, ultimately, the way you choose to market your home should give you the best chance of success, shouldn't it? If you want or need to move by a specific date, or you need a specific price, or something is changing in your world that makes you've got a timeline that you're working to, there's little point in keeping your home a secret, is there? You want to get it out there, don't you think? Susan, what would be your thoughts on that? You want to get it out as many channels as possible to give you the best
possible. Yeah, I would want the best possible price for my property. So I think if you're doing it off market, you've only got that one person bidding for that property, giving you that price, and you only think then that's what it's worth. Whereas if you've got several people, you could actually get a better price for it and get what you think it's worth as well. I think some people get disheartened if they get told that their property is only worth this and they've got a certain price in their head, and we're trying to sell that for them, so we should be trying to get the best price. So we're the ones that have got the negotiating skills there. So I think they're better coming to us so that we get the chance to get what they deserve for their property, rather than just taking what someone thinks it's worth, that one person. But getting it out there is probably best.
Absolutely, and it's also about that exposure as well, and all the tools that an agent has to get your property seen by most people, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think some people have the misconception that no matter who people put the house on the market with, it's going to sell for exactly the same price. We've got instances of that where we've sold properties, apartments that are above or below each other, where we sold them for 60,000 more or 100,000 more. Another instance, but that's definitely not the case. It's, as I said previously, it's the process in place that's going to get you the best possible price. Marketing strategies, negotiating, building competition. All these things add up to try and get you the best price at the end. So
it's managing expectations, isn't it? It's really managing their expectations too, so that they know we're trying to get what they're trying to get as well. We're working together for the seller as well as the buyer as well.
Yeah, we want to get the buyer their home 100%. But when I go and meet whoever I'm meeting, I'm always presenting them what I believe is the best marketing strategy, which is going to give them the best possible price. Because when I do bring them offers, I want to be making sure that this is the best offer in this marketplace at the time. If they don't want to go for that marketing plan, they want to pull away some of the tools that we need to use, then when I'm bringing them offers, it might not be the best offer. So I always go fast with the best strategy. So when I'm bringing you offers, I know that we've been seen by the widest audience, that I've negotiated as high as I possibly can, and this is the offer. If they want to accept it, that's great. If they don't and want to keep going and see if we can get something higher further down the line, that's fine as well.
Definitely. I think that the key thing really is it's about the highest part of success for them. Now, that could be about the number, it could be the offer, but it also could be the circumstances. It could be that it's chain free. It could be actually that the buyer can accommodate the date that they want to move. There's many things come into play with regards to what is qualified as a successful purchase and sale, isn't there? It's not just about a number. In some instances, there's multiple things in play here.
Yeah, we've had people, because of interest rates, etc., we've had people accept less offers because it's just straight cash recently, trying to take away as little risk as possible. So you're right, and working for a time frame, especially around this sort of time of year, people are saying, I want to be in my house for Christmas and New Year, so can we be looking at middle to late January? So there's many factors, but we'll present all that. Obviously, we'll try and work the highest price to work with your time frame as well. But if that's not possible, then we'll give you the best option, and hopefully it suits. If not, then we'll keep working to get you one that does tick all the boxes.
Absolutely.
That's why they should use us. Oh, sorry, I'm saying that's why they should use us, basically, because it takes the stress away as well.
There's lots of good examples. Yeah, there's definitely lots of that. So, Jimmy, what's your final thoughts on today's article then?
Selling off market, it is an option. It is an option. It is a good option. We can certainly help you with that. If you want to go down that route, I would just be conscious to anybody that wants to sell off market. You'll never know the true value of your home until you put it on the market, but understand it's not for everybody. But get in contact with ourselves or somebody or an agent, wherever you may be, and get them out to your property and discuss the options and see which strategy works for you best, because the best one may not get you the best price, but they maybe suit your circumstances. So it's all horses for courses.
I couldn't agree more. Susan, what's your thoughts on today's article? What's your final thoughts?
I just think that they should use the experts. I think they'll get a better sale out of it, less stress. Just come to the people that know. We've got all the tools to get them the better sale price.
Good. I mean, for me, could selling your home off market be right for you? I think it's right. I think you need to get good advice, good guidance. I think that sharing your journey with an expert is key, and then that expert will direct you in whatever way is going to deliver what you need to have. And actually, in some instances, and we've done this too, it might be actually selling now is not the right thing for you. So there's varying ways that this can work out for a potential seller. So get good advice would be my suggestion. And now that you know how selling off market works, perhaps it's time for a chat. Tell us about your plans. More than happy to help. You can message us directly if you're watching this on the podcast or social media channels later. Then certainly feel free to reach out. Got a team of experts here in the studio, but also throughout the business, and we'd be more than happy to help you with it. And that's it for the show for this week. Thank you, Susan, for joining us. Well done on your first show with us. Congratulations.
Oh,
thank you for this morning. And you can let the kids out of the cupboard now, Jimmy.
Downstairs, I promised them Janetta's ice cream afterwards, so gotta get them.
A little bit of blackmail goes a long way on a Saturday morning. Well, have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you all on the next show, which is Sunday for the property market update with Jim, who will be back from Jamaica with a lovely tan and telling us all about his exciting stories. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.